You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. Tech school year may have started, but that doesn't mean Chancellor Ted Mitchell can get off the lobbying train for a while. Dr. Mitchell back in Washington, D.C. this week with a tech delegation meeting to talk about education policy priorities with Texas Senator John Cornyn, who of course sits on the Senate Finance Committee. And Texas Education Agency Commissioner Mike Morath visiting Lubbock this past week. Lubbock ISD administrators, along with Senator Charles Perry and Representative Dustin Burrows, went along on a tour of Dunbar College Preparatory Academy. Commissioner Morath also spent some time talking to the kids about some of the good work that they're doing over there. And it hits you more and more that we now have a generation of young people who are really just too young to understand the significance of the September 11th attacks because they just didn't feel it the way we did when it happened. And that's why the retelling of those stories is so important, to talk about the lives lost and the way it changed our country. Now, 18 years after it happened, KMAX Anna Warnke tells a couple of those stories from Washington.
I was in my office in the White House complex.
Texas Republican Congressman Jody Arrington was a young 29-year-old staffer to President George W. Bush when he heard news of the first plane strike.
We thought it was an accident, like most people, and then the second plane hit.
Immediately, Arrington says they were told to get out. A third plane had just hit the Pentagon. Arrington says it was at that moment he knew America was under attack.
You didn't know when the next plane would fall out of the sky.
But while most people were trying to get out of the city, Texas Republican Congressman Will Hurd was trying to get in. Hurd remembers sitting in a Virginia classroom in his first year of training at the CIA.
I had to basically run 10 miles from my car back in the district.
Hours later, Hurd would receive a phone call that he says changed his entire career.
That told me to report to the basement of the old headquarters building of the CIA office in Langley, and I became one of the early employees of the Counterterrorism Center Special Operations Division.
Hurd was part of the unit whose focus was Afghanistan and ultimately to hunt down Osama bin Laden.
I can hear you!
And as the world watched President George W. Bush respond to the deadliest attack on American soil, Arrington says he witnessed a different side of the president.
I saw a man who was very prayerful and vigilant to make sure that that never happened again on his watch.
In Washington, I'm Anna Warnke.
All right, Anna, thank you so much. Let's spend 5 good minutes now with candidate for Lubbock County Commissioner for Precinct 1, Leanne Dunball. Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we talked to Commissioner Chad See earlier in the show about what's been going on there. You issued a statement immediately after that came out that they did not show up at the meeting. What do you think about what happened there?
Yes, sir, I did. It was a very unusual budget process, and I'm still perplexed by what has actually happened over the budget process. And I have great sympathy for both of these young men because they pledged to their constituents in their precinct they would not go above the effective rate. And that's quite a commitment. That's an important commitment to keep. Once they had their final meeting to just have discussion, there was agreement among the members of the court for a certain level, and that was the effective rate and the expenditures that go with that. The budget that was actually filed with the court clerk did not reflect that. It was the higher budget. That meant that what they had agreed to was not necessarily on the table for the full court. Knowing that the court could go back to the current rate and the expenditures that go with that, their only assurance that it wouldn't happen is to use that nuclear option, is what I would call it, and then not show up. Is that the best way to handle business of the people? No, it's not.
Right. But it ended up being effective, I guess, for their end of things anyway. You know, I assume with this campaign, if you're running here for Precinct 1's job, that either Bill McKay's not coming back or you feel like you can do a better job with that. Regardless, tell me why you think you're the person for the job now in Precinct 1.
I'm very concerned about Lubbock County's financial stability. And that is my personal expertise as public finance, and I've done it over my 30-plus year career. And in analyzing 20 years of county budget results and their financial statements, what I've seen happen over the last 5 years is a serious drawdown in fund balance. And fund balance, although very dry topic, is essential to keeping the county running. They don't need it just to have savings for a what-if scenario like a tornado. They need it so they can cash flow and meet payroll. And so having 25, 30 million is required. We're not going to get the big money in until January. So you've got to run about a third to a fourth of the year without new revenue coming in. So you have to have fund balance.
It's things that people wouldn't necessarily think of, but with your experience, that you might just be able to jump right in here. And I'm thinking a lot of people are watching this now and going, oh, I know who that is. Doing all many years as the city manager here in Lubbock. It did not end well. Did the good and the bad from that job, though, did it make you better at this? Did it make you more cynical? How did that change you working for the city?
Well, being city manager, it always ends on a bad note. That's the nature of taking the city manager position. And I told the folks that work with me at the city the day I was appointed, this is the beginning of the end of my career. Because city managers usually last 4+ years. I lasted longer. Councils change. They have different ideas about what they want. That's what they're elected to do, is make those decisions. And it's certainly an unhappy ending, but you have to anticipate it. And if you don't, then you're not being very professional in your approach to that type of position.
Sure. So, in the final seconds we have here, why stay here after all of that? Because you probably could have parlayed the city manager job into a much more lucrative position in a bigger city somewhere, right?
I grew up in the Midwest, Champaign, Illinois, and that is just like Lubbock, Texas. It's flat, it's ag, it has a land-grant university, and this is as close to home as I can get, and it is my home. If I didn't love Lubbock, I would have left directly after that, and I'm glad I stayed. This is where I live. Well,
we're glad you're here, too. We're going to talk to you a lot here and probably in the next few months heading up to March and the primaries, but good to come on and get to know you, everyone, again, and get to see you here on the show. Precinct 1 candidate for County Commissioner Leanne Dumball. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
And straight ahead, a lot of you watching right now may not be Democrats, but what happened in Thursday's presidential debate in Houston, shaping the whole political tone for the next 14 months. We'll talk about it next on Talking Points.